Yeah, Carter, how, I asked Pat this for, last week, I guess, but just curious, how Drew Evans has fit back in and kind of acclimated to, after missing spring and coming back from injury.
Yeah, he's playing really hard. And I think his effort is showing really well on the film. It's always good to have a piece back that was missing. And, going through the spring, it did kind of feel like, for me, kind of missing my guy. DeMol fit it well, but I'm really glad to have Drew back. And I think he's fitting in really well, after that kind of thing to happen. I think he's doing pretty well.
We'll stay left with Daniel and then go to Zach.
On Pat, when in the spring could you just kind of tell, okay, he gets it, he's committed, he can really lead this team?
Day one. He's loud. He's a good communicator. He does really well making all of his calls. He keeps his eyes up. He's very focused. He's very attentive. But he likes to keep the mood light, He's a pick-me-up guy. If someone's down, he's going to pat you on the back and say, hey, get back up. It's time for the next rep. So he's fit in really well since then.
So Zach B. and then Colin.
You won more games last year than you did your first 2 years here. What's kind of the biggest change you've seen this program take under Coach Signetti?
Just the mood. Not everyone's as depressed as they would be, I would say. I would certainly say that's accurate for me. There are a lot of smiles around the facility now, and that's always good to see. Everyone's having a good time. We all mesh very well, and I think it's creating a great winning culture.
We'll go Colin and then Seth.
On Zen, what have you seen from him so far, and how has he meshed with the guys?
He's really long. That's really good in pass pro. As a person, he's a lot of fun to be around. He's pretty vocal, makes all of his right calls. And, outside the facility, he's always wanted to just go grab a bite to eat. He's a fun guy to be around.
Seth and then Sammy.
Carter, I know this time last year you kind of let us know how difficult it is going up against Mikhail. Just what, especially after having a lot more time against him now in practice, just what is it that makes him the player he is?
He gets better every day. Whether he's a little bit faster off the edge, it's always keeping me on my toes. And then, it's just like he gets a little better, I get a little better, and it just keeps on stacking, I think that competition has been really good for both of us. And I think it's kind of rubbing off on some of the other players on the D-line too, some of the transfers that we got in, Steven and Kellen, they're all kind of buying into his culture and just go as hard as you possibly can every play. So
Stay second row on your right with Sammy and then Jared.
Carter, yesterday, Coach Signetti said that after day 3 was like the biggest jump in success in fall camp. How do you feel like that first week has gone through the first 4 or 5 practices, and why did he specifically say, hey, day 3 we thought we took a big jump?
yeah, days. To me, day one is always kind of a knock the rust off day. We do work a lot of technique over the summer, but putting pads on going against a human, it's always a little different. But I think once we threw the shoulder pads on instead of the spiders, everyone's mood kind of shifted and said, all right, it's time, roll off the ball. This is getting real. And I think that's where the jump came from. Everyone noticed that it was time to lock in and change the mood.
Stay second row right to Jared and then Joe.
Carter, you're entering year 3 as a starter. Just, a lot of guys might get, so comfortable in that role. How do you make sure you keep, elevating yourself?
That's a good question. I would say, for me, every year there's always been a new D lineman that's come in. My first year it was Alfred Lance. Second year is Andre Carter, and then Mikhail came in year 3. It's always nice to have someone who's not only, the game doesn't really change. Mikhail hasn't really changed. He's always been that kind of player who goes super hard, and I think having those kind of guys around makes me a more competitive person.
Second row left to Joe and then to Mike.
Carter, how would you describe the identity of the offensive line for this first week or so of fall camp?
I would say our identity, play the next play. Whether we do a good job and we cover up all of our targets, or whether we, maybe miss a block and have a TFL, it's always right back to the line, right back to the huddle, get the next play going. I think everyone's attitude on the line is really good, especially between the starters. Yeah.
We'll go back and left to Mike and then Daniel.
Kurt's talked about you guys didn't play your best, obviously, against Ohio State and Notre Dame, the top level competition, and that's where you guys need to grow. learn from those losses, and how do you kind of make that jump from good to great, or matching up against kind of those top tier competition, top tier teams?
There's always a little more you can do. Whether you got to take the time before practice, put your pads on early, and go out, work on your footwork. After practice, stay, maybe borrow a couple of the young guys to help give you some looks. You just got to know that the work is never done. And, those were tough times, but I think we've learned pretty well from them. I think we're going to come out this year screaming.
We'll finish up with Danny.
So I saw that y'all ate at St. Elmo's, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Was that QB driven? How did that kind of come about?
Yeah, Fernando, he's pretty. What's the word I'm looking for here? I guess generous guy. He invited all of us out to a steak dinner, offered for it, and I was like, how could we say no? It was a great time though.
What'd you order?
I got the filet with green beans. I know that's a little bit of a surprise, but I got green beans. The shrimp cocktail. We ordered a bunch of apps. Couldn't tell you what all of them were, and a bunch of desserts.
I'll run up a tab, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Carter.
Thank